Hello everyone, welcome to Card Making Fundamentals and welcome to the Phone a Friend classroom. I'm super excited you're here with me today. Happy Friday to you all. Today we're going to create with lesson kit number 2. We're going to go ahead and take that out of our package. And the supplies that we're going to need are basically everything that's listed on your homework sheet. If you guys don't know, over at cardmakingfundamentals.com there is a downloadable sheet that gives you a list of supplies and a list of everything that's in the kit actually, and everything that's in the lesson kit. And we're going to need all of that today for our project. So I'm going to grab all of my inks. We're going to need 4 inks for this card today. You're going to need a purple, you're going to need a black, you're going to need your red, and then also a green ink. I mentioned this during lesson number 1 that you want to coordinate your inks with the pattern paper that is in your lesson kit. I'm using Memento inks, and the colors that I'm using are on your homework sheet, but they're also, I'll mention them here. I have Tuxedo Black, red is Love Letter, green is Bamboo Leaves, and my purple is Sweet Plum, and all of these are again Memento inks. Okay, well, you are also going to need a stamping block. We're going to do a little bit of stamping, so grab your stamping block. You're going to need something to clean your stamps with. Baby wipes work great, or you could use your stamp chamois. I have a well-loved one here. I'll probably use that for my card. And then you'll also need a craft pick. Not necessarily, we're not going to add any jewels to our project, but the opposite end of the metal craft pick that came with a couple lessons back works great for cleaning up the diamond glaze, because we're going to go over some little hearts. So a craft pick might be nice and handy to have. And you're also going to need a tape runner for the lesson today. So this is everything you need. Everything else is included in the kit, including your handy little scissors. We're going to jump in with lesson kit number 2 and do a little bit of stamping. So I'll keep my inks out and my acrylic block. I'm going to go ahead and put everything else aside, and let's open up our lesson kit. We're going to stamp quite a few tellies today. Keep your package. Remember, we can put our project or card in there. Now I have 2 sheets of white cardstock. We're going to need those to do our stamping, and the rest we can put aside. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And we're going to need our stamp set. So let's take this and open it up. And we'll remove the film from the back, and we're going to take our phone. And again, during lesson number 1 I removed the heart. It was attached. I don't know if yours will be attached or not. It may, but I just snipped it so that heart was separate, but you don't have to do that. Now we already seasoned it a bit with our hand with lesson kit number 1, so we're going to jump in and do direct stamping. I'm going to start off with my green ink, and we're going to stamp 2 green phones. So we'll stamp once, pick up some ink again, and I'll stamp a second time. And I'm going to go ahead and clean off my stamp. If you wanted to use 2 acrylic blocks, you could. But I'm going to go ahead and take my receiver. The reason I don't add both of these on my acrylic block is I think I would get a better impression stamping individually. But that's just me. You might want to try stamping both at the same time so you don't have to clean off and put away and clean off and put away. But I'm going to stamp the receiver twice as well. Okay, and we'll clean off. And then that's the green ink. Actually, while we have our green ink out, I'm going to stamp. We're going to stamp with the same color ink all at once. I want to take that little heart that's in our stamp set. And then in our embellishment bag, there's lots of little white circles. You're going to need 5 of those, so grab those circles that are in here. Not the brad, just the circles. And I'll take one of these and I'll stamp, actually 2 of these. And we'll stamp the heart too. And I'll stamp my green heart in the middle of those circles. I did give you extra, just like we did in lesson number 1. I gave you extra circles in case you can't get it centered. And I got lucky. I centered them pretty darn good. Okay, now I can clean off this heart and I'll put away my green ink. And then next we'll take our purple ink and repeat the process. So I'll take 2 more of these little white circles. Since my heart is still on my block, I will ink this up with my purple ink. This is Sweet Plum. And I'll stamp purple heart in the middle of these circles as well. And that one was a little crooked, so I'm going to stamp once more. That's a lot better, so I'll put that one aside. So we have 2 purple hearts here. I'm going to clean off my heart and grab my phone base, and we'll stamp this on that same panel. We'll stamp 2 purple phones, so we'll stamp the base once, ink it up once more, and boy, my camera is shaky. Sorry, I didn't realize that my camera was so shaky, but I'll stamp once more. Okay, and we'll clean off our base and grab our receiver. And then we'll stamp that twice. Scoot over my heart so I have enough room here. And so we have 2 purple receivers. Good to go. I'm going to clean off, and that's all the purple that we're going to be doing. So I'll put my purple ink aside, and we're going to work with our red ink. We're only going to need 1 red phone for our card today. So I'll take the receiver, since that was the last one we stamped. We'll stamp that on the bottom here of our next piece of white cardstock. And if you mess up, there's plenty of room on this second piece of cardstock. I'll put the receiver back. We'll grab our headset. Actually, it's not a headset. We're going to grab the base. I don't know my technical terms for telephones. But I'll stamp that right next to it on the bottom. And then I'll put this back. And then we'll grab one of our circles here, and I'm going to stamp that little heart. There's the heart that obviously the heart that I'm using is not the silhouette. It's just the solid one. But I'll stamp this right in the middle of my circle. And I was way off on that one. I'm going to show you. That was a little off. So I want to grab another circle, put that aside, and we'll try this once more. I'll try and get a better center here. And that was way off too. Let's stamp one more. And that, 3rd time's a charm. We got it good for that one. Okay, so we have 5 phones in total. And before we put our inks away, we're going to stamp our sentiment also. Our sentiment inside of our embellishment bag. Open this up. There's 2 of these actually, of these little banners. You only need one of them. And you want the banner to be facing the left, so the hole is on the right. And I'm going to put this aside here. In our stamp set, we're going to take Sweet Friend, put that on acrylic block, and we're going to stamp Sweet Friend on our little tag here. Let's zoom in. And we're going to use our black ink for this. And I gave you two in case we mess up, but it's pretty simple to line these up here. So there is my Sweet Friend. Okay, we can clean off our sentiments and then put this back. And that's all the stamping that we're going to do today. So we could put our inks aside in our block. I'm going to take the backing for my stamp set and put my stamp set back. That way we're keeping it nice and tidy. Okay. So we can put this aside, and we're going to go ahead and use our cutter bud scissors. Did I say call them cutter bugs? Cutter bee scissors. We're going to take our little hearts here too and put these aside. We're going to fussy cut our tellies. When I fussy cut, I do this kind of odd. I like to separate my images and cut them one at a time. You don't have to separate them like I'm doing right here, but for me it just makes it easier to cut around one image versus two. Just kind of make them a little bit smaller. And this is great for stamping if you want to keep your cardstock also. Okay, we have a little bit of fussy cutting to do, so what we're going to do is just go around our phones, leaving a little bit of a border. And you're going to feel like you're on the assembly line by the time you're done fussy cutting. Let's leave a little bit of a white border. And we'll do the same with all of our telephones. So my classroom size is growing, and if it keeps growing the way it is, I may need a helper. May need to hire my kids. My goodness, but I am having so much fun with the classroom, and I'm so happy you guys are enjoying it also. Next month's classroom is going to be really fun. I think you're going to like that. I'm working on it as we speak. And once I get a little extra, oops, at this one I got a little bit too close to my image. The nice thing is, if you guys, it's only paper, and if you, let me show you. Like this one I got really close. I didn't leave much of a white border. To me that's not a big deal because it's going to be on a white background, or pattern paper background actually. It's not going to be that noticeable. But there's extra paper. You can always stamp it again. That's the best thing about stamps. And I'm going to go around here. And we'll just trim. Well, I hope you guys are having a wonderful summer. The kids are out of school, but the nice thing is they both have jobs, so they are staying busy. And I think they like getting a paycheck because the kids don't mind spending $100 on makeup. My goodness. And something that I wouldn't do. But that's just me. go over here. I think they're getting ready to go back to school pretty soon. How are you guys doing with your fussy cutting? Are you keeping up? And we're down to our last receiver and also our last phone base. We'll go ahead and trim around here. But aren't these phones the cutest? Oh my goodness. I think if you were to create a full background on in front of a card base with these phones, it would be adorable. In fact, I was at the grocery store the other day and I've never used press and seal. And let me show you. I had bought a brand new package of it. And I thought if you were to lay them out the way you want them and then you use the press and seal, you know what? I've never even used this on a bowl or anything. But I thought I've wanted to use it for a card. I think it'd be very interesting to use. So that is a little coming soon video for cards and coffee time. But I'm going to try that out. But I thought if you were to use press and seal and create a background with these phones, it would be just adorable. Okay, I'm all done with my fussy cutting. You could pause the video until you guys are done. But I'm going to go ahead and put my sleeve back on my scissors and go ahead and put this in my little trash bin. And our phones are all good to go. Now what we're going to do is in our embellishment bag, we're going to go ahead and take everything out of our embellishment bag here. And there is a purple brad. What we're going to do is take our little red banner and then take our sweet friend that we stamped banner. I gave you an extra one in case you needed to stamp that, get it straight. I know well, you saw me with my hearts, so I know that happens. But take your purple brad and add that. Actually, I'm going to flip this around. Take your purple brad and add that to through the red banner and your sweet friend. So both the angles are lined up. The red one's a little longer, so, and then flip it around and then you can just open those prongs. When you open them, make sure that they stay behind the little banners there. And then your second part of your sentiment is good to go. So we'll set this one aside. And then we have our little 6-pack of our small foam squares. Go ahead and add 1 foam square to each one of these phones that we just fussy cut out. And I'm going to put this back. And then we can remove the release paper. And then we can go ahead and add the hearts that we stamped right in the center. We're going to put the coordinating heart with the coordinating color of foam. So purple goes with purple, red will go with red. But of course, you don't have to follow along with me exactly. You could mix and match if you wanted to. You know, if you prefer it to be maybe like different colors of hearts on different phones, it would be cute. Okay, and I stamped. This red one has to go. And see, it's a good thing that I had an extra foam square. I'm going to grab that because I put the crooked heart on my phone. So that one was way off. I'll put that in the trash. And we'll add this one to the front. Okay, so far so good. Now what we're going to do is come over here and take we'll set these aside for now. Okay, and we're going to work on our background. Background's going to be very simple. First we're going to take our lattice looking piece of paper and we're going to add adhesive behind it. And this is going to go in the center of our card base. I'm going to flip my card base around. And then, once this is adhered, we're going to take our zigzag paper. And before we adhere this, we're going to take the striped polka dot, or take your purple polka dots, place this about 1 inch from the bottom. You'll have a little bit overhanging. And you can kind of use the zigzags as a guide also. And then we're going to take our stripe paper, and this is going to go in the center of our purple polka dot paper. Okay, we have excess overhanging, so I'm going to trim this off with my scissors. And then we'll flip around our panel and add adhesive behind here. This is going to go in the center of our card base. So just a little bit of that lattice, tan lattice is peeking out. But I like all the layers. I think the layers are playful. After we have this done, we are going to take our thought bubbles or speech bubbles. We're going to open up our package. And inside there is the hay speech bubble. Grab that, and then there's also a glitter that's the same size that goes right behind it for layering. Grab that as well. Okay, and then we're going to take our tape runner, or you could use your glue. Actually, let's use some glue. Did I mention that we needed glue? I don't think I mentioned we need glue, so let's use our tape runner. We're going to add tape behind our hay, and we're going to attach that to the glitter right over the top. And then we're going to flip this around, and we're going to add a foam circle behind here. We're not going to adhere this just yet, but we are going to add our phones. Now, our phone receiver, our phone handles, flip those around. And then this little foam square piece, these are small foam strips. You can see here. Separate them and put one foam strip in the middle of each one of these handles. You'll have some leftover foam strips. Let's add one here. Okay. While we're at it, we can adjust our sentiment here. And I'm going to put the red on top, like so. And we'll flip it around, and then I'm going to take one of those, two of those foam strips actually. And we're going to add one right on the red and the yellow in the back, so it kind of keeps it from shifting. And then we'll take another one, and then we can add a second one right over the brad portion. So our sentiment has foam adhesive. I have one left over, so I'm going to put that back in my little pouch here. Then we have our circles, foam circles. Flip over your phones. We're going to add those to the back of each one of our phones. Okay, so now we have foam adhesive behind all of our elements here. Okay, now we're going to take a purple base. We're going to remove the release paper. This is going to go towards the bottom of our card. I'm not going to press down just yet because we're going to put 3 in a row. Then I'll take the purple receiver and we'll add this right on top here. Next we're going to take our red phone. We'll remove the release paper and then we'll add this. I'm not going to press down just yet. And then I'll take the red receiver and add this right on top. And I think we have to lower it, so that's good that we checked that out. I'm going to lower my purple just a little bit. And then I'll lower my red. I'm actually going to scoot it over a little bit. Once you press down on these, they're good. They're stuck for good. Now we'll take my green phone. We're going to add this just above our red. I'm not going to press down. I'm just going to lightly set it down. I'll remove the release paper off of my green receiver and we'll add this. And I think that's pretty much evenly spaced. I'm going to go ahead and take my purple phone. Remove the release paper. This is going to go right next to my green one on top. And I'm just using the bottom as a guide and evenly spacing them from left to right. Add your purple. And then we can, wrong receiver. Remove the release paper off of our purple receiver and add that. And they're overlapping a little bit, but I think it's okay. I think that's just fine. And then we have our last phone, which is our green one. We're going to add this parallel to the red one. And then we can add our receiver here. And I think that looks okay. Now we have our hay, but before we add that, we're going to flip over our little banners, remove the release paper here, and the very end of the banners, just up to the brad, is going to be tucked underneath the phone over here. And I'm making sure that my sweet friend banner is straight. And I'm not worried about the red one being straight. Just my sweet friend. Okay? And then we can remove the release paper off of our hay. And this is going to go right next to, right above our sweet friend. Basically just below our little green telephone. And that will be our sentiment. Now I'm happy with the placement, so I'm going to press down on them all. So they're not going nowhere. And then I'll tidy up my desk here. We're going to bring in our diamond glaze here, and then also our glitter along with our little spoon. And unless number one, I told us to put our scratch paper inside of our, unless you don't want glitter in here, open up our scratch paper here. And we're going to add a little bit of glaze and glitter to the hearts. Now, on lesson number one, we went around the whole heart. If you want to do that with this card, you could. But for me, I'm just going to go on the heart image itself, not the entire circle, just the hearts. And we're going to open up our little diamond glaze. And then I'm going to add a little, what I'm going to do is add a dot at the curve of the heart, and then kind of spread it around with the tip of my dropper here. So we'll just add a drop and kind of spread it around. If you need more, just squeeze that droplet. You might want to kind of do a little tapping. And if you go outside the lines of the heart, that's okay. You got, like I said, you could fill in the entire heart like we did with our first card. That would work out too. Okay, now after I have this done, if you have a craft pick, you can use that to kind of push that glaze in. Like I went outside the lines a little bit here. Just push that glaze into the heart. Go around it to make it a little more cleaner. Go over here too. So that's where your craft pick will come in handy. Now after we have that done, we're going to take our glitter, kind of tap the lid a little bit, and then using our little spoon, we're going to add some glitter to our little hearts. You can kind of pick up a little, add it to our diamond glaze to give our phones a little sparkle. And then we can tap off the excess. And then we have some glittery little phone centers. And I'm going to open up my container here and funnel what's left over in here. And then I'm going to take this to my garbage can and I'm going to tap off the excess. There's plenty of glitter in here, so I'm not worried about wasting it. Okay. I'm going to set this aside and then put our scratch paper back in our little envelope, and then I'm going to put my extras. I only have the extra banner left over in this circle. Not too much left over from this card, but we have lots of these little thought bubbles for extra card projects left over in the kit. We're just going to use the hay for this card today. Okay, that will finish off lesson number 2 of the Phone a Friend classroom. Let me zoom back out. There we go. That will finish off card number 2. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a lovely day. We'll see you next Friday at the same time, same place. Next Friday will be, let me grab my classroom schedule. Next Friday will be on August 19th. So we will see you then. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.